Greetings and salutations from beautiful Greenville, North Carolina. Burr, 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 burr. Welcome back to my channel. Alright, I'm not going to spend too much time on this intro because we have a massive 65 plus volumes that we have to go through. This month was a big pickup month for me, not necessarily new things coming out, but some old things that I wanted to pick up. So anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Kisanoke's flunking her high school glow up. I have actually read this one. I know I say I don't normally read number ones, but I did read this one, thoroughly enjoyed it. It is your basic kind of rom-com, nothing too crazy going on in here, but I really did like the characters. And for the most part, I do like the artwork in this book, but it's a cute little story. You can definitely see the seeds of romance in there, and there's a little bit of drama. So if you've been considering picking this one up, I would highly recommend it. Next up, Too Many Losing Heroines. I've been loving the anime this season of this particular series, and I decided that I wanted to support it by picking up the manga. Now, this one was a little bit disappointing. It follows the story pretty closely, but I do not like the artwork pretty much at all. It's been tough for me to get through. I think I read about half of it, but I will finish it and I will continue picking this one up because I want this to continue going as an anime. So, you know, we got to buy the books that we love. So Too Many Losing Heroines. Next up, my first release straight from Japan. I bought this from a store on eBay. This is, I believe, The Cutest Gal Next to Me. Absolutely love this story. I read scans online and I feel bad about it. So I wanted to get an official copy of volume 1, and let me tell you, this is a great rom-com story basically about this dude right here whose sister's best friend, this gal right here, definitely have a thing for each other. Little bit of an age gap, not a major one. He's in high school, she's in college, but you know, you're just watching them awkwardly build into a relationship. Now, I can't read a lick of Japanese, but I have flipped through and enjoyed the pictures, but I've definitely already read the story online. But The Cutest Gal Next to Me. Next up, a returning one from our last Manga Haul video. This time, Ogami-san Can't Keep It In, volume 6. Told you that was coming out, told you I was getting it. Here it is, just continuing this story. I absolutely love this book. If you have not read Ogami-san, read it. Honestly, read it. If you like rom-coms, if you're into quirky kind of comedies, this one's great. I love it. I love it. I feel like they really pushed their story forward. The next volume that's coming out, I think at the end of the year, is going to be the final one. So 7 volumes is complete. It may not be worth your shelf, but you know, you could definitely read scans online, or this one's what, Kodansha? I don't know. It's kind of expensive to use their little online digital platform, but you know, maybe get it half price on Kindle or whatever, but read the series. It's great. Next up, I picked up Sailor Moon Volume 1. I think this is an omnibus. Don't get me to pronounce the things that I can't pronounce, but the long and short of it is I love Sailor Moon. When I was a kid, I used to watch it all the time in the morning, and so I wanted to pick this up. Now, I was going to pick up more volumes of this, but I see that there's going to be a box set with the first 6 or 7 volumes coming out in November, and it's like 60 or 70 bucks. I think I'm just going to do the box set instead of continuing to buy volumes of this, and I'm going to wait to read it when I get that box set. So I haven't read this one yet. Next up, one of my favorite pickups from this particular manga haul, Go 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 Ghost. I loved this book. This one was great, man. I am super excited for the next book to come out. This one was just fun. It was funny. It has a really great premise. I really do like the artwork in this one. I love the characters. I don't want to give too much in this story because I think you should read this one. I think you should pick this up and read it, or it's Yen Press. So yeah, I think you should definitely pick this one up and read it, read scans, whatever you need to do, but read this story because this one's fun. It's worth a read. It'll get you through a day. I think I read this one in maybe like an hour, but loved it. Next up, I picked up Killer Shark in Another World. Now, this one I knew was coming out, and I had a little passing interest in it, but I saw Manga Sloth do a manga haul recently, and he talked about this book, and he spoke very glowingly of it. And so I was like, I think I'm going to pick this up. I think I picked it up the next day, read it that same day, which is very rare for me. I like to keep some of the newer books like little further back in my read pile. But I read this one the same day, and let me tell you, this is batshit insane in all of the best ways. This is another one that I don't want to give you too much of, like what happens in it, because I just think it'll give away the whole premise. But it is terrifying and it is hilarious at the same time. Just a really incredible book. The art is okay. It's not the greatest. It's not the worst. It's pretty middling, but I think the writing is pretty good. I think the first couple of chapters are a little bit aimless. And I think once you get to about the middle of the book, the mangaka kind of figures it all out. And I think we're going to have a pretty fun series on our hands. Now, the next book I picked up was The God's Lie by Kiyoshi Izaki, which is somebody I'm a huge fan of. After reading Golden Sheep, I've kind of been going up and picking up some of their works. I haven't read this one yet. I do know a bit about the premise of this one, but it's not at the top of my list. I'm actually reading another Izaki work right now. But The God's Lie, Ozaki has great artwork. I really love Ozaki's writing. I was a little wrong about Golden Sheep. The artwork was actually pretty dope. I really love Ozaki's writing. I love Ozaki's character development, and I'm really looking forward to reading this particular book. So another Ozaki piece, the Mermaid Prince. We're getting close to having a relatively complete Ozaki collection, I guess you want to say. You'll see what I'm talking about a little bit later on. This one I know very little about. I know the reviews are not great on this one, but it's okay. I'm still gonna read it. You know, it's got that signature Ozaki character design, so I'm really looking forward to kind of flipping through this and figuring out what's going on. I also really, I don't know, it's just hard to describe how much I really enjoy their work. I think I'll probably like it better than the reviews say, but Mermaid Prince. All right, our next book, and one that I went through a considerable amount of trouble to finally get my hands on, More Than a Married Couple, But Not Lovers. I have mixed feelings about this one. I have read it all the way through. Number one, I will say that the anime is a little bit better than the book, though I think that the artwork gets a little bit better when you get the volume 2. Speaking of which, this is a 2-in-1, so you get volume 1 and 2 in this one. The original releases of volume 1 and 2 in this one, I should say. I think the artwork does get better in volume 2 for sure. Volume 1's artwork is, okay. I definitely think that the female characters are drawn very, very well in certain points. The men, and they're okay. They're drawn okay. Also, there are some differences in the story from the anime. I just think they take some of Jiro's edge off in the anime. He is a little bit of a slut shamer. I mean, I thought that about him in the anime, but I think he's far worse in this book. But overall, like, I still enjoyed the read overall, especially volume 2. I really enjoyed volume 2. I felt like it followed a little bit closer to the anime. But yeah, this was great overall. Like I said, the artwork, I didn't flip through it. So the artwork is meh here, but I think it gets a lot better when you get back here and a little bit more consistent as well. So I'm looking forward to volume 2, or volume 2 omnibus, I guess I should say, to come out in November. So next up we have Do You Like Big Girls? And I was hesitant to pick this up for a number of reasons, and I'm not going to flip through this, but I have always said to my friends I am not really into cartoon titties, and a lot of that changed when I read this book, because man, whew, this is about as close to hentai as you can get without it being actual hentai, but there is a story there, and the story is somewhat amusing, I guess I would describe it as. I can't really say too much, and I can't really show you too much, but what I will say is that I am going to keep reading this. I've been debating whether I'm going to just go ahead and pick up the remaining singles, or if I'm just going to wait for the next omnibus to come out. But I did enjoy my time in more ways than one with Do You Like Big Girls? Okay, next up, we're going to have a series that I have read the first 2 volumes of, and I thoroughly enjoyed, and that is going to be Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, volume 1, 2, and 3. I've read volumes 1 and 2. Actually, I read volumes 1 and 2 recently. I absolutely loved this story. I initially hesitated on picking it up because I flipped through it a little bit and I did not love the artwork. Take it back. The artwork is fantastic. Also, the story is just fun and compelling, and it's funny, and you just really get invested in these characters and their relationship. It is a bit of an age gap relationship, and I use relationship very loosely because they're not together, but it's clear that they both have an affection for each other. Maybe it'll end up being one of those, what's that movie with Sofia Coppola and Bill Murray? No, not Sofia Coppola. She directed it. But anyway, what was that movie? Lost in Translation. Maybe it'll have like a Lost in Translation type ending. This one is complete at 4 volumes. I am holding off on reading volume 3 because volume 4 doesn't come out until March of next year. And I don't know if I'm ready to leave these characters. So debating whether or not I'm going to read it because I want to know what happens after volume 2. But man, this one was good. This one's really freaking good. Definitely pick this one up. Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You. And also notice that I'm not giving you a ton of details about what happens. 1, there is a lot of manga that I want to show you guys. 2, I really don't want to give you too much. I just tend to get a little bit too detailed about what happens, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. I want you to check it out. But if I'm recommending something, I think that it has a lot of potential for a lot of different people. Alrighty, for our next set of books, it is a collection of Aizawa books, and it's going to be Neighborhood Story Volume 1, and this is the Kinokuna exclusive cover that I ordered online last quarter. And Paradise Kiss. Ooh, Paradise Kiss is a thick one. Paradise Kiss is complete. It is all, 5 or 6 volumes of that collected in one book. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. This is a massive, massive book. It's towering over the other ones. Anyway, I've already read this. We've already talked about it. Just absolutely loved this cover. It is adorable. When I saw it, I had to have it in my collection. I took it out of the plastic. I know that's kind of blasphemy, but for me, I just wanted it to look natural on my shelf with everything else. This book, I was not sure about this when I first bought it, and I was not sure about it when I first started reading it. When I tell you, it is one of the best manga I have read in a while. This one's going to be pretty high up there for me and Aizawa's work. I think this is just a great story, and it is complete at 2 volumes. The next one comes out in January, I think. Don't want to tell you anything about this one because there's quite a few twists and turns in it, but please read this. This is so good. Read it. Now, for Paradise Kiss, I have not actually read this yet. I have kind of decided I want to wait until the end of Neighborhood Story, or until I get all the volumes of Neighborhood Story, to start reading this one. And that is because it is a sequel in some sorts to Neighborhood Story, meaning that one of the characters appears in it and also her sister is in it. So I thought it would be cool to read this after I have the full context of Neighborhood Story, but it is an absolutely gorgeous book. It is a thick one, but it still manages to be relatively light for its size. And I bring this up because of something else we're going to talk about later on. But yeah, Paradise Kiss, if you know, you know. Okay, so our next set of books is pretty much going to be a continuation of some things that I've already been reading. And the first set is going to be Please Go Home, Miss Akatsu, volumes 5 and 6. Nice, cool, ecchi series. Has a relatively interesting premise. I've been reading this since God knows when. And I really enjoy this story. It's pretty basic. As you can tell, I like the boobies. I like pictures of the boobies. I'm probably going to cut that out. But anyway, as you can tell, I do have a little bit of an affinity for ecchi series, which is kind of surprising to me because a long time in my life, I haven't really liked stuff like this and I've hated fan service. But I think when it's done in a tasteful way, it works. Not saying do you like big girls is tasteful, because it is not, but this one is. There's some fun characters and they're very easy to invest in, and you get very invested in their relationship. So yeah, Please Go Home, Miss Akatsu. If you like this kind of stuff, pick it up. And for our next books, it's going to be No Longer Heroine, volume 6 and 7, which I have read both of these. I am obsessed with this juicy story. I can't remember how many volumes it is until complete. Maybe one or 2 more, 3 more. I don't know. But I am definitely invested in the outcome, even though I pretty much know what the outcome is. And it kind of sucks that it's going to end the way that it does. But sometimes you just enjoy the journey. More antics, more juicy teenage romance drama. I am here for all of the shits. Sign me up. Really enjoy this. If you never read this series, I know that the fandom for this book have a lot of mixed feelings to kind of hate it because they hate the ending, but I think it's pretty well written. I really kind of learned to like the characters, which I think is pretty impressive when you start off kind of disliking a lot of the characters and you end up finding yourselves liking them as you go further along in the series. And I don't know, it's great. It's a good book, really good book. Okay, and continuing on with this absolute madness that is a manga haul, we have Sketchy Volume 1, 2, and 3. Yes, all 3 current volumes of Sketchy. Haven't read this one yet, but this is one, and I spoke about this in one of my last videos, one that I really have been eyeing for a while, and I'm kind of excited to have picked it up. Have not started reading it yet, read the premise though a little while back, and I was like, man, I think I want to read this book. And so, yeah, definitely like the artwork. Looks very anime-ish. You know, I kind of like that vibe. And so I'm looking forward to kind of getting into Sketchy. I know Volume 4 is coming out soon. So hopefully I will have Volume 1 read by then, at least, before I pick up Volume 4. But if I don't, so what? I'm invested. Okay, and our next set of books are going to be Boys Abyss Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They don't even all fit on the screen, but yes, I picked up all 6 volumes of Boys Abyss. Now, I've heard a lot of good things and some bad things about this series, but I do have an affinity for depressing things, hence why my name is Sad Marcus. So I thought this would be right up my alley. I'm going to probably start reading this very, 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 very soon, especially because I've kind of gotten through my reading log, or not through it, but I've kind of knocked quite a few things off the list. So I think Volume 1 is coming up soon, but super excited to read this. Love the covers. I mean, the covers are beautiful. I usually have one displayed on my shelf so you can see it. But yeah, the covers are beautiful. I know the story is pretty dark, so I'm pretty excited to read this. Now, our next grouping of manga actually just arrived yesterday, and this is another one that I've been really excited to read, and I committed to it because of a sale on Amazon, and also the fact that it is ending soon. But it is Blade of the Moon Princess Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yep, I went ahead and picked up the current run of it. Volume 5, I think, is coming out next month. But yeah, super excited to read this. The covers are pretty awesome. I also have been, despite what I said in my last manga pickup video, getting a little bit more into action manga. So I don't know, I'm super geeked to read this particular book. Okay, now moving back over to my favorite genre, romance. I believe this is actually a shoujo. It's going to be How I Met My Soulmate, Volume 1, 2, 3, and the recently picked up Volume 4. Super geeked to read this one. This is one that has been on my list for a little while, and I finally decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and pick up all 4 volumes. Well, I picked up these 3 volumes, and then I picked up Volume 4, I want to say yesterday when it came out. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun, great story. I love the fact that the characters are in college. That was like the number one thing that made me want to read it, because I am so tired of everybody being in high school. Love my little high school stories, but you know, I want to read about some adults right now. And so yeah, super geeked to read this little cute romance story. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that it is complete at 4 volumes. So really, a really low commitment to get into these too. And let me say real quick, it's not like I'm balling or anything. I've picked these up over the last month in a combination of different things. Some have been full price, some have been on sale, some have been on sale with Amazon. The Crunchyroll summer sale, I picked up a lot of stuff from that, as well as triple points from Barnes & Noble at the beginning of September. Kind of took advantage of that to basically get a bunch of coupons to use on purchases. Okay, our next set of books that we picked up is another action series, and it's going to be Sora's House of Monsters, Volume 1, 2, and 3. Yes, all the current volumes out. Now, this one I picked up because I saw quite a few manga YouTubers talking about the series, and everybody had really good things to say about it. So I thought I would give it a shot, which I know 3 volumes is a lot to give it a shot, but I have a 3-volume rule, so it works out fine. I have not read it yet. Probably going to read it soon, but I have flipped through it. Really do enjoy the artwork. The art style is kind of unique. I think the premise is kind of unique too. A little mix of comedy, action, just cool characters kind of kicking it. So I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. If you read this one, let me know down in the comments. But if not for nothing, the covers are absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, Sora and the House of Monsters. Super, super excited about this one. Probably said the title wrong, but Sora and the House of Monsters. Excited about this one. Let's get into it soon. Now, my next pickup is a series that I swear is bullying me. I have had the first 4 volumes for so long, and I have never read it. I still have not read it, but I have somehow committed to picking up this entire series. And I think as of now, this is probably the longest or most of one series I have. Well, that's not entirely true because Kubo has 12 volumes and I do have all 12 volumes of Kubo, but this one's number 2 and that's going to be My Dress Up Darling. I picked up volume 5, volume 6, volume 7, volume 8, volume 9, volume 10, and volume 11. These are all wrapped, so I won't even be flipping through these right now. But basically, the story of me and My Dress Up Darling is I kept getting recommendations from people that I should read this book. And so I picked up the first few volumes, like the first 4 volumes, I think, at one time. And I had planned to read it, don't get me wrong, but other things just kept being a priority to me, and I kind of just never read it. So I took it back to Barnes & Noble. I was going to exchange it for something else I was a bit more interested in, and they wouldn't let me return it because it was past the return date. And so I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to commit to the series and keep buying them until I get the full series. It is the dumbest thing in the world to do. I would not recommend doing this, but I would definitely say I ended up getting maybe 5, 7, 8, and 9 from the Crunchyroll sale this summer. They were maybe like $8.60 a volume. This one I bought from Barnes & Noble during triple points. This one I got from I think I got it in that Books a Million vlog that I did. So I got this one for about $8.60 as well. And then this one I got as a birthday gift from my friend Jessica. Shout out to you. I know you watch the channel. Thank you for volume 11. Appreciate that. So here we are. We're 11 volumes deep into the series. I don't even know why at this point. I just have them. So our next series is something that I have been wanting to read for so long. I have watched the anime in its entirety, and I just really wanted to sink my teeth into the manga and actually read ahead. And that's going to be Freerun Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the recently acquired 7. So I ended up picking these up during that Books a Million sale, which I think they normally have 15% off, but they had an additional % off if you spend a certain amount. And so I think I bought 1, 4, 5, and 6 during that. So these are relatively cheap, about $7.60 a volume. I did pay full price for these 2 as well as this one right here. But yeah, I'm probably going to start reading this very, very soon. I loved Freerun. I loved Freerun so much. That's really high up there on my list of absolute banger favorite animes of all time, which is crazy to say because it's relatively new. But, you know, we can respect new anime around here. We can give new anime its flowers. And I mean, look at that gorgeous artwork. And I mean, why would I not want to go hang out with them? Now, if I'm not mistaken, these volumes pretty much cover the full anime, 1 through 6. And then 7 is where, you know, I'm going to get to sink my teeth into something new. But I will feel like I'm cheating myself if I don't read the whole thing. So I'm going to read all 7 of these volumes at some point and pick up 8, 9, 10, and 11 also soon here in the near future. So super excited to collect Freerun. This is also going to end up being probably one of the longer series in my collection as well. We'll see how that plays out and how long this one runs. But from what I understand, even at volume 11, it's not even really scratching the surface of like where this series is going. So anyway, Freerun. Okay, now it's time to get into the chunkiest part of this haul, and that's going to be these thick boys. Starting with Yokohama Kadashi Kikyo. Hope I'm saying that right. Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, I picked up the entire series in pretty much one go. I got these during the Crunchyroll sale. Definitely peer pressure got to me and the FOMO got to me. Once again, not a way to shop, but I did and haven't read them yet. I've been saving them for a nice rainy day. Not super dialogue heavy, so these should be pretty easy to get through, but the covers and the spines are absolutely gorgeous as well as the artwork. I just love this art style. I'm super excited to read this. I did read like a preview of one of the volumes on Amazon before I bought them, and I was like, this is absolutely perfect for me. And so, man, I'm another manga YouTuber who's picked this series up, and yeah, picked up the whole thing. So, yep. Excited about this one. I was so geeked for this to show up. Yeah. Okay, next up we have, and you're going to see a theme here, so follow along with me. Mermaid Saga Volume 1 and Mermaid Saga Volume 2. I haven't read these yet, but I do love Rumiko Takahashi's work. I loved Inasia. I used to watch it back in the day on Adult Swim, and I've since read quite a few of her other works. And man, I'm trying to collect as much of her stuff as I possibly can, but her series are very long running. This one is not one of them. It is complete at 2 omnibus volumes. It has a little bit of a horror vibe as well as comedy, which is what she's known for. So I'm excited to see how those two things mix together. The long and short of it is, I mean, you know the classic artwork if you know it. You feel me? You know it. And so I'm just geeked up to read the series. I'm probably going to be reading this one soon, especially because it's complete at 2 volumes. And if you haven't learned about me, or what I'm learning about myself is I loves me a short series. And these I bought used from a seller on eBay, and they both came in excellent condition. Honestly, they looked almost brand new. This is my first time touching them since I took them out of the box, but man, that artwork is great, man. It looks really good. But anyway, like I said, you're gonna see a theme, and you're gonna probably notice that now. In our next books, Inasia Volume 1 and Volume 3. I did just order Volume 2 today. Volume 2 was like pretty difficult to get for a while, and I really don't like picking up things broken, but some books are like just tough to get your hands on, so you know, I might as well go ahead and grab them while I can and then fill in the gaps when I can. Terrible way to shop. If you know Inasia, you know I do plan to purchase this entire series at some point, but this is going to be a long-term project because it's not super high on my priority list. Like, I have other things that I plan to read more often, but you know, Inasia is like a comfort read. You know, you can just flip through it and read it at your leisure because you pretty much know the story. At least, you know, if you watch the show, you pretty much know the story. I mean, obviously there's some things that are like left out, or some context that changes a little bit, you know, throughout the course of it. But overall, you kind of know what's going on. But it's beautiful artwork, fun story. Super excited to pick this one up and read this one as well. So kind of continuing down the Rumiko Takahashi vibe, and probably one of my favorite works of hers, it is Mason Ukaku, volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's complete at 10 volumes, and I am 3 volumes away from completing it, and I'm excited to complete this. I have read volume 1 in its entirety, and I absolutely loved this book. I loved it. I love the characters. I think it is so hilarious. Like, it's so funny, and it's so funny the way things play out. It's such a product of its time, and it's so refreshing at the same time. It's just the power of like great writing. It really reminds me of Cheers. It's very like episodic. It does have like an underlying plot, but it's still kind of episodic too, so you can kind of bounce in and out at your leisure. This is a comfort read for me as well. I mean, it is just great. The artwork's great. The gags are great. It's just such a good book. If you've never read this, I would highly recommend this one. Like, maybe you don't have to pick up every volume of this, and I think this is Viz, so you can probably read it on the Viz app and save yourself some money on it. But oh man, what a good series. Like, what a great read. Now, mind you, there will be some things in this that will be kind of problematic by today's times. And you got to take that kind of with a grain of salt. There were quite a few things that made me cringe about it, but it still was just so funny and so good. And they don't really write comedies like this anymore. And oh man, I love this book. Like, if you have not read this, please read it. It may not be your cup of tea. It may just because I'm an old man and I grew up in a different time, but I thought this is great. I really did. I thought it was great. If you like romance, if you like a little bit of slapstick or gaggy comedy, you'll probably enjoy this book, honestly. But yeah, 6 volumes of this, 3 to go. Now, last and certainly not least, and there's so many and they're so thick, pause, that I'm already holding them in my hand, but it's going to be the elusive Vagabond. Volumes 1, 2, which you saw me pick up in that pickups video, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, and 11. Yes, we have almost a full Vagabond set, and I did order 8, I want to say today, so it should be here tomorrow. Ordered it from Amazon. I've already read volume 1. I read this one. I'm trying to avoid flipping through one that I have not read yet, so we'll flip through this one. This so good. I know a lot of people pick up Vagabond because the spines look really good on the shelf, and it's, hard to come by sometimes. Like, they go in and out of print cycles, I should say. And so it makes it difficult to find any given volume at any given time. And I think that creates a little bit of FOMO. But a lot of people haven't actually read it. I read volume 1 and immediately wanted to pick up volume 2. This is some good shit, man. I mean, the artwork is absolutely gorgeous and insane. The fights are insane. The way the fights look are insane. I mean, this is a great book. And in all honesty, I would rather have it in the paperback version than the hardcover version coming out next year, because that hardcover, I mean, these are already 30 pounds as is. I mean, you heard that thud when I dropped it. These things are already heavy. I can only imagine how much heavier they're going to be in that like faux leather bound edition. Don't want to deal with that. Also, you just lose the beauty of these covers. Like, these covers are gorgeous. I love the colors. They really pop. And then you're going to lose the gorgeous spines here too. But more than anything, if you've never read this, read it. Read it. It's a good story. It's well written and it's gorgeous to look at. I've enjoyed getting to know these characters so far. I am on the edge of my seat to know what happens next with these characters. I'm pumped about this series. I am really pumped about this series. If you don't own Vagabond, if you don't have the shelf space for it, you could probably read it in the Viz app once again. If not, buy digital copies of it. But I would recommend it because it is a masterwork in all senses of the word, from the writing to the artwork. It is a masterwork, and I want to know what's gonna happen with our main character. Like, I know the series is on hiatus right now, which is sad a little bit, because you kind of want to know how this thing is gonna end. And we've gotten this far, 37 volumes, and I'm probably not gonna buy volume 37 and just stick it on my shelf beside these, Viz bigs. I would just rather for it to be enough for them to make another Viz big. I'll wait for volume 13 to come out or whatever. But I can't say enough about how good this volume was. And knowing how good this volume was, there's no way that these are going to fall off like that. So yeah, that's it. So let me take it back to cartoon, Marcus. Well, there you have it, my friends. Almost everything I picked up this month. I did leave out a very key series, but we will cover that next month because this video is already long enough. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and click that like button. And if you're really feeling this or any of my other content, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Let me know, man. Let your boy know that you fucks with your boy. You know what I'm saying? That you vibing with what it is that I'm doing over here. And of course, you can always check out my main channel that I haven't uploaded to in 4 months, but that is changing soon. I say that at the end of every video, but a lot of focus is being placed on this particular channel for you guys. But anyway, that's over at Crooked Mark. And until next time, let's talk about the things that we like, we don't like, and everything in between. Peace.